In the previous video, we had our first real experience with IntelliJ IDEA. We managed to create our very first Hello World application and even modified the program to print our name. It's now time to explore IntelliJ IDEA a little bit more, just to understand the various windows and start to understand how things are put together, and just to have a look and see where IntelliJ IDEA stores our files as we're creating our programs. First things first, if you look in the top of the screen, you can see the location where IntelliJ IDEA has placed our programs. And if you remember, in the previous video, we defined the location where that was going to be. So I'm going to go into that folder just to have a look and see what files are in there. So I'm going to open up my Finder, and you would open up, if you're on a Windows machine, you would open up Windows Explorer, and you can see that I'm in my desktop. My path is desktop Java programs, as you can see at the top there. So I'm in the right folder, and I'm going to go into the Hello World folder. And you can see that there's a number of files there that have now been added by IntelliJ IDEA. Firstly, there's a helloworld.iml. Now that is a file that's created by IntelliJ IDEA, and that's used to sort of keep track of the state of this project. So it's not something you would ever need to edit or open or use in any way, but you certainly wouldn't want to delete it either. But the interesting one is in the src folder. src is an abbreviation for source. There's a file that you can see, it's called hello.java. So, and that equates exactly, as you can see, just above the Finder window there, hello.java. So when you create a new class in IntelliJ, it creates a file and it ends it in .java. So all Java files that you're creating end in .java. And if we have a look in the out folder, expand that, you can see there's a hello.class file. And looking at the sizes, you notice that hello.class is larger than the hello.java. Now the hello.class is the compiled version of the class, whereas the hello.java contains the code, as you can see on the screen there. The hello.class, if I go to open that, contains what looks a little bit like mumbo jumbo. It certainly hasn't got the same code that we typed into the IntelliJ IDEA in the previous video. Now, a .class file is the compiled version of the program, and that would be the one that you would use to distribute and send your code out to other people. But we'll be talking a lot more about class files in future videos. For now, all you really need to know is that you create programs in IntelliJ. They're saved off in a file format that ends in .java, and IntelliJ will automatically, when you run the program, create these .class files. So just keep in mind that you probably don't want to delete anything in these files for now. You do all your changes to your Java code normally would be done within the editor itself, within IntelliJ IDEA, and not anywhere else. So going back to IntelliJ now. So over here to the left is the project view, the project window, and you can see that the project is showing on the screen there. And if by chance yours isn't showing project, you can click on this drop-down box and select project from that. And if you recall, that mirrors pretty well exactly what we saw a minute ago in the Finder window. So IntelliJ in the standard project view is really mirroring the contents in the IntelliJ IDEA product with what's on file, and that's all handled for you automatically. The other thing I want to point out is that you don't need to worry about saving files. In some programming languages, you may need to actually manually save your files. The IntelliJ product is automatically saving things for you. It's rare that you'll ever need to. If you do want to try and do that for some reason, you can click up here into File and click on Save All. But generally speaking, IntelliJ is handling the saving of this behind the scenes and writing those files out and writing any changes you make to those files, as I showed you in the Finder window. Now, one of the other things you can do, you can change the location of some of these windows. For example, you might decide that down here, this little run window, you may want that on the right hand side instead of down the bottom. So what you could do is you can come over here and click on this little cog, and we can click on Move to Right. And you can see now we've now got that file on the right hand side, and of course that frees up more room down here that was being taken up in the past when that run window was at the bottom of the screen. You can also make windows bigger or smaller to your taste, as whatever you need. And you can open and close a particular window by clicking the View menu, going to Tools, Windows. And in this case with Project, if I select that again, that actually removes the window from the screen. And if I want that window to come back again, click on View, Tool, Windows, and Project. And you can see I've got a shortcut to the right-hand side there. On a Mac, it's Command 1, but that'll be different depending if you're running Windows or Linux. But just go to the relevance option, View, Tools Platform, and you'll see what the shortcut is. You'll end up getting to know these quite well as you use IntelliJ and start expanding your knowledge of Java. I'm going to open up the project window again. You can see that's now open. Another thing you can do is you can set the windows to floating mode. And to do that, click on the cog for the relevant window, go down and click floating mode. Once you do that, you've got a freestanding window that you can move anywhere on the screen, and it's not actually fixed or docked in with the rest of the windows that are part of IntelliJ IDEA. That could be good, for example, if you had multiple monitors and you might want to put some of your windows on one monitor and the rest on another. And to go back, and click back, and you can just click on floating mode again, and that will actually put it back where it was. And if you want to, you can come over here to the Windows menu, and you could save the current layout. If you had a particular way that you wanted to save the windows to always go back to that particular state, you can click on Store, Current Layout as Default. And then if I go ahead and make some changes, for example, if I move that back to the bottom again, and let's say I close the project window, I can come back here to Window, Restore Default Layout. It actually goes back to whatever the state was when you actually saved it. So that can be quite handy just to size up the windows and to choose a format that makes sense for you and works with your particular setup. So you now know the basics of how to manipulate IntelliJ IDEA and to create a custom layout that suits your machine. In the next section, I'm going to start talking more about Java, and we're going to start learning the actual commands and what they mean. And specifically, we're going to start on data types and variables and build our understanding from there. So I'll see you in that next section.